Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, now we're on the air or somewhere. Well, I'm going to talk about this evening, people, or whatever time it is for you, wherever you're at. I live in Houston, Texas, where it gets too damn hot. But I just got through weed eating my front area of my house. It's relatively large, but the back part is huge. And I have three Ryobi two-cycle weed eaters, and I have two Homelight 26cc weed eaters. All five of them are two-cycles. And I prefer the two-cycle, and I'll tell you why. You're better off to go with the two-cycle because the four-cycle weed eaters, they're heavier for one thing, and it can get tiresome after a while. And they have a drive belt, and those drive belts can slip or even break on those damn things. It's nothing but trouble. So your best bet in a gasoline-powered weed eater is your two-cycle. See, where you don't have overhead valve and or any valves at all, and there's no timing belt to be concerned with. You will be better off, at least in that device. I wouldn't want that in a car, because you have a metal chain, well, on most of them. But then I wouldn't even own a car that had a rubber timing belt, which some of the four cylinders actually do. That's horrible. But go with the two cycle. The best two cycle weed eater you're going to get, I know this from experience, is the Ryobis. The Ryobis, they're beautiful. They are in a way when you're using them. You need to shut them off, to restring them, or whatever. They start right up. Most of the others, it's a bunch of bullshit to where you have to pry them again, especially these two home lights I got brand new, but they were for a sale for 40 each on eBay about a year ago. They're okay, but they're a bunch of BS starting them because even when they're cold, after you prime them with the choke on, you have to hold the throttle all the way in to get them to start. Why? With Ryobis, you don't have this, issue or whatever. But I want to tell y'all something about the overallness of a weed eater. Alright, first off, have the bump head type spool on them. Have that. It'll save you a lot of money. You just bump them on the ground, and that they work very good. Like this one. See, there's a bump set in the center. It's easier to load the string in them, so you don't have to take the spool cap off and all this BS. The other thing on these, alright, these gear heads. They call them gear heads. Okay, right here. These babies right here, they will tell you to take out this small fitting on the side and somehow squeeze grease up in there. Don't do that bullshit. Look, let me tell you how to do it. You can even leave your spool on. Okay, on these you have a nut that holds them on, a bolt with a nut on it. Loosen that nut and just pull that bolt on out there. Okay? And this one I noticed doesn't even have a nut, it's just a bolt that goes straight through. Okay, and then use a screwdriver or something to pry it. There's a groove right here. You pry it apart. Just pull the gear head off there. You might have to twist it a little bit. Take some channel lock, twist it, and just pull it straight off. And then take grease. Grease and push down in that hole. Turn the spool some, push grease. Get all the grease you can in those. Because those things get hot. And I'll tell you why. Because at the factory, they don't want to spend any more money than they have to spend. So what they do, they just lightly coat those gears, those two gears in there in the shafts, with just a little bit of grease on each one. These things need to be packed with grease, people. So anytime I buy a brand new weed eater, first thing I did on these two new ones, I took that gear head off and pushed grease down in that. That way, for the next 10 years, I'm not going to have to worry about that because that grease is not going to leak out. Okay? That's my advice on those gear heads. Pack them with grease and don't use that little hole on the side. Just pull the whole gear head off. You can even leave your spool on it. Push grease through that hole. Okay? And you'll see a hole inside of that, where the shaft of the idle gear sits in there. You just push that grease in there until it's completely packed. Okay? And that takes care of that. Also, when you use these weed eaters, stop using your garden hose to spray them off with. Stop doing that. Because where that gear head is, it's a tightened assembly, but it's not sealed off. You will get water in that. And the water also, causes rust when it's against metal. The way, you can wipe, you can spray the part off the plastic shield or guard, but as far as that shaft, when you're through using your weed eater, always have WD-40 handy. Take WD-40 and spray on the lower half of that shaft. Put it on there pretty heavy, and then spray it just where the gear head starts. Okay, let it sit there a while, while your engine cools down. Because no weed eater or any lawn equipment should actually be put up while the engines are still hot. You're just increasing the averages for a fire, man. Let these engines cool off. And then stand the weed eater up, with these string spool up, and just take paper towels and wipe that shaft. And then it'll wipe off all the grass or mud or soil off of it. Plus it'll leave a greasy film to prevent rust. And get it around, where the gear head is, because that area on weed eaters tends to want to rust first. Because usually the plastic guard is in the way of that. But start doing that, people. And quit spraying these with your lawn hose or whatever. Because it will only let water will go down in through that gear head. You keep doing that, and it only permits for rust. And you don't want that. You want this stuff to last you forever, Especially Ryobi with the expanded, to where you can put different fittings on it. You don't want those to ever go bad, because you don't want to have to buy the damn things again. It costs too much money, Okay, now about these engines. Let me show y'all guys something about these engines. Alright, now first off, I'm going to tell y'all an easy way to measure your oil and fuel mixture. I don't understand these un-Americans that get on here, and they're supposed to be weed eater lawn equipment sites, and they'll stand there and make an hour-long video how to measure in millimeters and per cup and quart and all this crap. I cannot understand that. When we can speak in American language here, look, people, get you an ounce container, somewhere. You can probably get it at the grocery store for mixing sugar to bake cake with. What you want for a 2-cycle weed eater, 2.8 ounces per gallon. 2.8 ounces per gallon of gasoline. See what's complicated about that? Now let's say you only wanted a quart or a pint. Alright, if you wanted a pint, you would just divide that figure for a pint divided by 8. And that's going to tell you how many ounces of the 2-cycle oil you want for a pint of gasoline. If you only want a quart, well then you'd divide that 2.8 figure that for a gallon, divide that by 4, and so on. Or if you use full gallons or 2-gallon containers like me, you multiply the 2.8 times 2 and add to 2 gallons. You see? Just remember, 2.8 ounces per gallon. And I hope all of you, have enough education to know how to divide this easier. This basically, I think it falls into arithmetic level of, I know, 4th grade. A person could understand that, or, figure out your own method to do this. Like do something 4 times, to achieve the whole, or whatever, even if you don't know math, But that's that. Another thing, on these 2-cycle engines, when you're through using them, if you're not going to use them in the next day, or I would say the next 5 days, drain the gasoline from the tank back into the gasoline container. Let me tell you why. Here's why a lot of people have hell starting these things after they only hang them up in their garage for a week. What happens? The gasoline evaporates quickly, not as quickly as alcohol, but it evaporates quickly. The gasoline portion starts evaporating through the vent in your fuel cap on your plastic tank here. Alright, the gasoline evaporates, but then the oil amount that was in the gasoline, that does not evaporate. So what you end up with, you're taking a weed eater after a week, and it's got a half tank. You're thinking, oh, I'll just fill it up. What it is, you're going to have way too much oil in there, because see, a bunch of the gasoline evaporated, but the oil part of the mixture did not evaporate. You see? That's what you people are doing. That's why a lot of times you get one that floods. When you go to start it, after you hang it up for a week, and you don't drain any unused gasoline. If you're not going to use it within 5 days, drain it back into the gas container. But wait till the engine cools down. Because you hold one of these hot engines over a gas container, the whole damn thing, and you can light up with it. Wait till that engine's cool. Another trick? Oh, the EPA will disagree with this, and they may not like it, but let me tell you people something. A 2-cycle engine runs on, or at least these, oil in your gasoline. So you don't want them to be over muffled as far as the muffler system on these. The first thing I do when I get a new 2-cycle weed eater, like on this one right here, okay, get up here. Okay, this hole right here is where the exhaust hole lets out. I take a screwdriver and I push into that hole and I break that screen element. I tear it to pieces. And then when I start it up, it blows it out. Just make sure you're facing the opposite direction. The reason why? Because after time, most of these weed eaters, when the marketers that decided for those stupid screens to be put in those mufflers, it was for the reduction of noise, okay? and they thought it would be less pollution. But what happens? So you got an engine here, a two-cycle engine is basically an oil burning engine. Even though it may be minimum, it is still an oil burning engine because you're putting oil in your gasoline. Those screens are going to stop up before you've used it too long. Okay, what this causes is where the engine starts running hotter. And then you'll notice they don't want to idle. So people will be getting out their Phillips screwdriver and turning up the idle. See, all this crap, when all it is, that screen is getting blocked with carbons. Carbons, see. Okay, the EPA wants to keep carbons out of the air. Alright, but then you got to consider this. Keep carbons out of the air, and you wouldn't be able to run a car engine or a weed eater. Because there's going to be some carbons for the engine to operate, because exhaust has to occur. Okay, or it's going to back up. But that is the trick. Punch those damn screens out of those. But if it's under warranty, don't do it. As soon as the warranty expires, punch those screens out. That way you, generally, it won't bog down like you'll accelerate a button and go, boom. Or it'll be idling and it'll keep shutting off. So damn screens they put in there, man. You know, it blocks the exhaust. These things have to push out. You know, what goes in after that combustion stroke, they got to push this out, man. It's an exhaust. Either do it or don't do it. I do it. And I'm a master mechanic. I'm a computer machinist. I am also a metals engineer, retired person. And these are things I know. Take note of these tips. And the best weed eater I've ever dealt with in my life is the Ryobis. And I will take a two-cycle weed eater any day of the week because in the weed eater line, they have not yet developed a proper overhead valve four-cycle engine. Not with those rubber timing belts. Because that's only a problem waiting to happen. That and you're dealing with more weight. Go with the two-cycle. Okay? Now I told y'all how to get your mixture right. And quit wasting money on all this two-cycle oil. You can buy it at the grocery store. I bought some from HEB about 2 years ago. 4 large 8-ounce containers and paid 80 cents a piece for them. Or you can be a fool and go to a parts store and pay $7 for 6 ounces and be stupid. It's oil, okay? It's the equivalent in thickness of automatic transmission fluid. 1.5 to 2 weight oil is all it is. Okay, and I guess that's all on this subject. And I hope, you know, over the years I have a huge back area of my house. It's huge. And I don't even mow back there, you know, because there's too many logs and things like that. And the Ryobi 25cc's, man, they are the best. It's starting up, you know, and as far as their performance, they are the best. And for those of you that are careful and you're aware, there is something you can do to get a wide span to practically make your weed eater become a lawnmower. You know, you can take those guards off those, but you got to be careful. Got to be careful. You can run that string out 12 inches on each side without those guards, which gives you a 24-inch span. You know, that is 3 inches wider than the standard 21-inch lawnmower. And you can literally mow an area. I mean literally. But anyway, I hope my demonstration paid off. And remember, pack those damn gearheads on these things with grease, man. Pack them with grease. And anyway, adios to everybody. And I love you. But be good. Remember, Jesus Christ is your best friend. He is our Savior. And do each other right. Bye bye for now.